Good evening. Welcome to Medlink Students. So tonight, we'll be going over some of the advantages of studying abroad, how it all works, some of the options that are available to you, and what some of the experiences of our students who are studying abroad have had. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'm Edmund. I'm one of the student advisors here. Now, for years, my work has solely been guiding and supporting students throughout their medical or dental journey abroad. I've helped thousands of students begin their path of becoming doctors and dentists, some who are back in the UK practicing, and some gone to their home countries as well. Now, we have invited, and we'll be joined by a few of our specialists, some of whom will be talking tonight. Now, you're already familiar with myself. Spoken to some of you have spoken to me already. You also have Tom, who's a senior student advisor here. We also have Victoria, who heads up the admissions team. We have Osman, who's also head of admissions. And then we also have Dana, who's a senior student advisor. So tonight, we'll discuss who we are, the benefits of studying abroad, the current state of the medical and dental schools in the UK, what it's like to study in Europe, the tuition fees and the living cost, and also the admission requirements. Now, we'll also be going over the medical and dental schools, the best ones out there for you. We'll also go through where you can work with the degrees, how we can help you, and there'll also be some time for the Q&A. Now, the instructions of the Q&A will be at the bottom right in the screenshot, as you can see. And so you'll have the time to type in your questions and we'll go over them for you. Now, as with everything, there is a story, and a success story, you will often find someone who had made a courageous decision to embark on their journey. And so to tell you about our story, I'd like to invite Osman to join us and tell you more about how it all started for us. Osman?
Thank you, Edmund. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect. So welcome, everyone. Really excited to have you. We have such a huge number. This is the biggest webinar we've ever done, and we have such a huge number of attendees. Really good and exciting to see so many people that are interested in learning about alternative paths into medicine and how you can pursue what you love and what you dream about. Because I did the same, and I'm sure that you can do as well. Initially, when we first started this organization as a group of doctors, dentists, we were students back then, many, many years ago. We saw there was a huge opportunity in Europe. We saw that there was an even at home, simply because it's too competitive. You didn't get the right grades. The interviews are too tough or competitive, and it has become extremely ruthlessly competitive over the past few years. That's why, as an organization, we saw there was a lot of opportunity, a lot of places where we can help people like us who wanted to pursue medicine or dentistry, wanted to become good doctors, competent in their fields, and come back to the UK as successful doctors and dentists. If you have your parents with you as well, we have a lot of parents tonight. And that's really good to see some supportive parents who are willing to do a lot for their children to pursue what they love. So as a group, Medlink Students started, we were passionate about helping people like you, not just with getting the admission and getting the process done simply because of the bureaucracy, but also by providing pastoral care, by looking after you, helping you with the process and the transition and the relocation to the new country, whether that be Bulgaria, Romania, wherever you decide to go. We have plenty of options, and we will talk about these later on. So stay tuned and listen closely. Our support does not also include guaranteed admission and making sure that you get into medical school or dental school. It also includes having supportive teams on the ground that will look after you, that will help you, that will provide you all the care and support. People that are older students than you, who are in the older years, will be like an older brother or older sister, there to support you and help you. and make sure that you have a smooth transition so you can come to Europe and just focus on studying medicine, not having to worry about all the small bureaucracies and all the small processes involved with relocating to a new country that you've never set foot in or never spoken the language of. So we've had thousands, tens of thousands of students that approach us every single year, asking us for advice, speaking to us. We speak day and night with students, with their parents. And we do it over the weekend, over the week, whenever. And I'm sure many of you have spoken to us already, and you're listening in just so you can get some more information about us. So really good job that you've done that. Many students have done this before you successfully, and we're really excited to see how we can help you and if this is the best option for you, of course. Back to you, Edmund. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Osman. Now, as with every story, as Osman shared, there is a whole brilliant team behind this. And so to tell you more about our team, I'd like to invite our senior student advisor, Tom, to give you an overview of who our team are. Tom?
Hi, thank you very much, Edmund, and good evening, everyone. So to start off, a little bit about myself. So I'm a senior student advisor here at Medlink. I've helped thousands of students over the years in terms of trying to find their best options suited for them. So looking at our team as a whole, it consists firstly of the doctors who have personally been through the experience themselves, the highs, the lows, the difficulties. They understand it back to front better than any of us. Then you've got ourselves as expert advisors. So our advice and knowledge is all based on our previous students' experiences and how we can try and tailor the best option that is suitable for you to go and study abroad. From that point, we've then got our admissions teams. They'll be sorting out all the applications, and we've got them specifically for each individual country. So wherever you're applying to, you're going to have a team that are dedicated for that country that are going to make sure your process and everything goes smoothly and that you get your acceptance. They'll also help you with the exam and preparation materials and things as well. And then you've got the on-the-ground support team. So it can seem quite daunting, of course, going over there to start with. So that team will be there to help you to settle in. We'll go into a little bit more of that later on. Back to you, Edmund.
Thank you so much, Tom. And as you were saying, we are here to provide you guys, the students, with all the information so you can make an informed decision about your future. And after tonight, if you choose to start your journey abroad with us, we can proudly say that we'll be there with you every step of the way. Now, I'd like to invite our senior student advisor, Dana, who will explain some of the benefits of studying medicine and dentistry abroad and how you may be able to take advantage of them. Dana?
Thank you, Edmund. Good evening, everyone. It's so exciting to see so many students join us tonight with passion and the drive to achieve your dream. My name is Dana, and I'm an advisor. I speak to so many students, and throughout all these years, I've got to learn from students what they love about studying abroad, the benefits that you can get when you go and study in Europe. And I'm going to share with you a couple of these benefits today. One of the best things about studying in Europe is that the courses are globally recognized. So if you're from your home country and you go study in Europe and you want to return back to your country, for example, UK or USA, you're able to do that. And the courses are fully taught in English language. So you don't have to spend years learning a new language of the country you're studying in. In addition to the flexible admission requirements, some universities require entrance exams, some universities require interviews that we help you prepare for, plus the affordable tuition fees and the high quality of education. And of course, we're not going to forget about the international environment that you can see, the diversity, and the ability to return back home and work in your home country after you graduate. And during your studies, the best part about universities in Europe is the modern facilities they have. You get to experience the best practical experience and rotations in the hospitals and in the facilities that universities have. And of course, we're not going to forget the less competitive universities. So you're going to be competing with the international students, not with the local students. So there's a lot of other benefits that we can look into, but we wanted to point out the main ones, and we can't wait to have you join our team in Europe so you can get to enjoy these benefits and learn more about other benefits. Back to you, Edmund.
Thank you, Dana, for explaining the many great reasons why more and more students are choosing this path. Now, for those who've just received your results from the UK, we'd like to say, well done. I'm sure you did your best. And if you're here to find out about the benefits and the things that will guide you in looking for options abroad, we'd like to tell you a bit more about the current state of the medical schools in the UK. So to tell you more about this, I'd like to invite back Tom, who will give you a bit of overview and the current state of the medical schools in the UK. Tom?
Thank you, Edmund. I think this is a topic that's all too familiar with the students here this evening. Applying to medical schools at home, it's become a significant barrier for students. There are tens of thousands that are competing brutally for a very small number of spaces. Because of that, the universities are overburdened with competent students. So they're forced to reject many able students who deserve the space that you've worked so hard for. And I'm sure there's quite a few of you here tonight watching this that can relate to that. So as you can see from this chart, the number of applicants and reapplicants is increasing every year. So this one's specifically for the UK. It's a very similar story that we hear across the board with many of the countries we work with. And yet the seats are not increasing to match. You can see there the available seats, just 9,500. However, the actual medical workforce themselves in the UK is welcoming an increasing number of EU and international graduates. So if you're concerned about being unable to work or practice as a doctor in the UK, you shouldn't be. The NHS is currently facing a crisis. So they have a shortage of 50,000 doctors below the EU average. That's a big amount below the average for EU countries. So as a result, they're very open to hiring international foreign trained doctors. As long as you meet the correct requirements, there's no problem with it. It's not difficult to get into the country to register as a doctor like it is to get into the medical school, which is a common misconception. We've actually got a chart here to show this. So here we can see from 2021, more than half of all doctors joining the GMC register last year qualified outside of the UK or the European Economic Area. So that's 10,000 doctors that you can see there that came from non-EU and international countries and registered with the General Medical Council in just 1 year, compared to the 7,000 that came from the UK. So this figure, it exceeds that of the UK and the European Union graduates combined. So as a result, you really don't need to study in the UK, and you really don't even need to study in the EU to obtain that complete GMC registration. So going on from there, you can see, so the medical education in Europe. So the degree in Europe, we get asked a lot about this and what it is it any different to my home country and the degree that we do there? So this is for medicine. The degree is called an MD. So it's a Doctor of Medicine. It lasts for 6 years. And typically that's 3 years of theoretical preclinical study, followed by 3 years of real clinical experience. The MD program is widely used across the entirety of Europe and many other nations like the USA and Australia, for example. Moving on from there, we've got the dental education in Europe. I expect we've got quite a few wannabe dentists attending tonight. So the English taught dental program, or DMD, it follows a very similar route to its MD counterpart. So this is called a Doctor of Medicine in Dentistry. So this one lasts between 5 and 6 years, generally with the first half covering mostly theoretical preclinical study, again followed by a second half consisting mainly of clinical experience with real patients. And then we move on to the graduate entry medicine and dentistry, which is a little bit more interesting, a little bit more different, because it works quite uniquely in Europe compared to a lot of other places like the UK. So this form of graduate entry is used and it's perfect for someone who has a health related degree, such as nursing, biomedical science, pharmacy. These kind of qualifications are ideal for it. Now, the way it works is a little bit like a transfer student. So it works by means of recognition of subjects. So what the university will do, working closely with ourselves, we will get each subject relevant to medicine recognized by the university, and this will allow them to therefore cancel out that subject. Now, what this allows you to do is enter into a later year of study. Meanwhile, you're skipping just the subjects that you've already covered in your previous degree, and therefore you can carry on from that year and finish the degree. So typically you can do this in 4 or 5 years instead of having to do the full 6 years if you've already put a lot of work in beforehand to get your bachelor's degree. Thank you, Edmund. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Tom, for explaining and sharing how the courses work abroad from graduate entry to the first year. Now, another service that we provide is transfers. And I'll let Dana explain how the transfers actually work. Dana?
Yeah. Another great service offered by Medlink is transfers. This is for students who want to change universities halfway through the program. Now, the majority of the students here are considering first year, but we do have students that go to a university and they feel that's not the right university for me. They're not happy there. So they'd like to transfer. In case you're one of these students, this is your opportunity now that we can help you change your university to go to the right university where you're going to be happy and comfortable and continue your studies without any interruptions. But please keep in mind that transfers are based on a case-by-case assessment based on the subjects and credits that you've done in your previous university. So in case you're a student looking for transfer, it is possible, and we can get on a call with you and advise you which universities would be best for you. Back to you, Edmund.
Thank you, Dana. Dana, also another question we get asked as well is the living cost and the tuition fees and how they relate. People ask whether if the tuition fees are higher, does that mean I'm getting a better education? Can you give us a bit more information on that?
Yep. Sure. Okay, so as you said, that's a very common question. Every student who speaks to us wants to know what are the expenses gonna be if I go to Europe, and how much is it gonna cost me, and how am I gonna pay for the fees? Now, we have universities in Europe in different countries that range between £4,000 up to £22,000 per year. So whatever your budget is, we can always help you find the right university, which is suitable for you and that meets the criteria and the qualifications you have. Now, many students also ask us, does it mean if I have a university with lower tuition fees means it has lower quality of education? Well, the answer here is no. The quality of education is related to the university and the curriculum they have. It's not related to the tuition fees. The tuition fees are related to the economical situation of the country and the geographical location. So whatever the budget you have, even if it's £4,000 or £6,000 or £22,000, we can always help you find the right university which has top quality of education. So Edmund?
Thank you so much, Dana, and thank you for clarifying one of the essential things that a lot of our students can benefit from. Now, we're often asked how we can guarantee your medical or dental school and gain acceptance for you. Now, well, to tell you about the hard work that goes into achieving that, I'll let our head of admissions, Victoria, tell you more about the flexible admission requirements that are there in Europe. Victoria?
Hello, everyone. I'm Victoria, and I'm part of the admissions department of Medlink Students. So as Edmund said, a lot of the students are worried about the academic requirements of the European universities, but you don't have to be worried about them because we are here for you and we're going to help you throughout every step of the process. Most institutions require you to have a high school diploma or the equivalent in your country's high school system. You should usually have a strong background in the basic sciences. These are chemistry, biology, physics, and maths. Some universities need non-native speakers to get an English proficiency certificate because they want to make sure that you get the most out of your course. Some of them also require and have a simple entrance exam. This is sometimes an interview, sometimes it's just a test, and the type differs. Sometimes there are MCQ questions, open questions, or a combination of the two. However, not all universities have these exams, so you can just contact us and ask if you do not want to sit one of those exams. The admission for a graduate student, you are required to have an English proficiency certificate and, of course, your university transcript. The rest of the admissions team and I will handle all of the paperwork for you and make sure that you get the admission process as straightforward as possible, and you not have to do everything that the university wants you to do, so that we can do it for you. We will translate all of your documents, get your acceptance letter, provide revision materials, assist you with all the admission exams and interviews as well. Our objective is to always help you and to be of assistance to you, which is why we'll guide you throughout the visa process if needed and application, as well as payment of the university tuition fees. Now we're here to help you, as I said, throughout every step of the process and to ensure that you get accepted at a medical university abroad. So don't be afraid about the criteria or the admission requirements. Just contact one of our student advisors and they will help you and assist you throughout that.
Thank you so much, Victoria, for the hard work that you and the team do on a daily basis to help our students get into their preferred universities. Now, I want to invite Tom to show you some of the top medical schools in Europe for this year's intake. Tom?
Thank you, Edmund. So yeah, here we can see some of the most sought after choices for students for 2022. So based on the admissions that we've been taking all year round, these are some of the most popular schools. I think a couple of key things to take from this are the opportunities and the variety that is available here. You know, there are schools that are very affordable, schools that are very expensive, schools that may be very far away from where you live, also schools that are much closer. They've all got a range of different admission requirements. Some have exams, some have interviews. So you can always be granted that you're going to be able to find something that is suitable for you, and we will be able to help you to do that. Thank you, Edmund.
Thank you so much, Tom. Now, I'll let Dana tell you more about the most sought after universities that we have in Europe. Dana?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Dana.
Sorry, I had bad internet. Okay. So one of the top universities that we work with is Titu Maiorescu University in Romania. Titu Maiorescu has a medicine and a dentistry course. Both are 6 years, and their fees range between 8,500 euros per year up to 10,000 euros per year. Now, we're going to see together. Can you please show us the facilities a bit? Okay, so we're going to take a look at the campus features. We can look at the libraries. As you can see in front of you on the screen, you can enjoy the modern libraries they have full of books from different topics, equipped rooms. So here is where students do their research and have some of their seminars with doctors. In addition to the advanced dental equipment, that students get to experience great practical experience. And of course, the hospital simulation rooms and the extracurricular activities and the leisure that the university has. We're gonna list some of the extracurricular activities that they have. One of them is the scientific projects. This is one of the features of the Titu Maiorescu University in Bucharest, in addition to the athletic and artistic and cultural events. They also have Ball of Freshmen, University Journal, and multiple conferences and seminars where students get to enjoy their experience while they're studying. Now, why study at Titu Maiorescu University? As you can see in front of you on the screen, there's a lot of benefits, but one of them is that the university has a very strong practical training program. It's located in the capital of Romania, and the university has won inclusion in the prestigious US Yearbook of Medical Faculties. So Titu Maiorescu is one of our top universities, and it is a great option to consider. Now, another great option we can look at, and one of our popular universities, is Serbia. In Serbia, we have a medicine course, which is 6 years long, and the tuition fees are around 5,500 euros per year. The university has an entrance exam, which is just to test the basic knowledge that you have. And we're gonna be preparing you for this exam. It'll be covering biology and chemistry. Now, since Niš is one of our most popular universities, we've already filled up the seats this year, but we have applied for more seats to give you the opportunity to join this year and not miss out on the September 2022 intake. So it's still possible to join. And let's see some of the campus features too. So we can look at the laboratories that Niš University has. They have very well-equipped laboratories, in addition to the modern rooms where students get to hold the seminars with doctors, and they experience great and modern ways of teaching. The simulation rooms, of course, the clinical practice. So that's the best part about Serbia and Niš University, is that Niš is very popular with the clinical experience they have. We can also take a look at the extracurricular activities that Serbia University Niš specifically has. Now, Niš has the most extracurricular activities in Serbia. As you can see in front of you on the screen, they have a lot of sports: volleyball, basketball, musical instruments. They have research projects, language courses, scientific conferences, and the best part is the parties that students love: graduation parties, welcome parties, and New Year parties, as you can see in front of you on the screen, which attracts a lot of students. Now, why study at the University of Niš? Since the founding of this university, the university diploma has been acquired by more than 50,000 students, and several students and student organizations on campus promote social and networking events, in addition to the affordable accommodation and the safety of the city. Niš University is recognized by the top medical councils like the GMC, ACA, the American Council, the Australian Council. So it's recognized by the biggest medical councils of the world. So also Niš is a great option for you to consider and take a look at.
Thank you so much, Dana, for sharing that with us. Now, I'd like to invite back Tom, who's going to tell us more about the two of the most popular medical schools that we have and dental schools that we have in Europe. Tom?
Yeah, thank you very much, Edmund. So we're starting off by talking about the European University in Tbilisi. A few of you would have seen this in our introduction video at the beginning of the webinar. So they're teaching in medicine and dentistry. Now, one very popular thing with this university is there is no entrance exam. So it's just a very straightforward interview that you do with the school in terms of the admission, alongside obviously your documents. Tuition fees around 4,800 euros per year, and cost of living there about 550 euros per year. And this one, if you haven't noticed already, is located in Georgia within Tbilisi, which is the capital city of Georgia. So having a little look through at some of the facilities here, you can see here, again, they've got very comprehensive libraries. These are open at all times for access to the students, so they can go there, whether they need to study something in particular or whether you just need a quiet space to get on with your studies. It's a perfect area for it. They've also got the laboratories. Again, it's the latest equipment and technology that you'd expect to see in any high-performing modern university across Europe. Again, you can see a lot of the lecture rooms here, fully equipped with all the kit that you're going to need when you're doing your preclinical lessons. So taking a look here at the dental equipment, you can see here they've got the phantom heads. So that's what you'll be working on in your preclinical years, working up towards working with the patients, and some of the dental kit there as well. Also some state-of-the-art simulation rooms. These are incredibly helpful, again, during the preclinical years to really get a good understanding of your anatomy and your physiology subjects. Furthermore, from there, the university have got their own dormitories available, single and twin rooms. Again, they're very modern, very comfortable. In terms of the extracurricular side for this university, you've got medical championships, so you can provide in various different academic events. Also, all the sports that you'd recognize, there's a few listed here, but there are many more that they like to get students involved in. Of course, the graduation, the welcome parties, the meet and greets to help you all get to know each other when you get there. And one of my favorite things with this university is actually the exchange programs. So every single year, a few of the top performing students, if you're one of the hardest workers with the university and you really show that commitment, you can actually get an all expenses paid for exchange trip. And they do these all around the world. Most recently, they did one in France, where a group of students got to go and experience, they had a clinical experience there. And were able to go into the hospital and see how things were done and get a completely different insight from yet another country during their degree. So in terms of the recognition, why study at the European University? Getting my words mixed up. So you've got highly qualified academic lecturers. As you've seen, a lot of very modern technology, very well-equipped simulation rooms. This is another good point here. The cost of living and studying is really affordable. So it's very easy for students to live very comfortably. You don't have to break the bank like you would do in the UK, for example, if you were studying. So I think we've got another university here. So this is Pleven University, and this one is located in Bulgaria. So this one offers just medicine. There is an entrance exam in biology and chemistry. The tuition fee is a little bit more than the last one, so €7,500 per year. Cost of living is quite similar though, so around €550. They've just opened their admission now for February, so we've already taken on a few applications for them, and they actually start in February. So for those of you who haven't got a chance to go to a place this year, or if you're maybe looking to start a little bit later, perhaps you're doing a course until that time, this could be an ideal option for you. And once again, we've got some photos here of the campus. It's a really nice place and within a very nice city. Having a closer look, we've got some of the laboratories here. Again, you can see all the modern equipment that is essential for you to study and become a competent doctor. You've also got the simulation rooms. Great thing with this one is you've got the VR simulations. So during your preclinical years, you can actually see what the real surgeons are doing and get a really good insight into it all. Further on from that, you've also got a lot of other special equipment. This is actually a virtual surgery machine, one of the first of its kind in Eastern Europe. Fantastical bit of equipment that's really good experience for you students to witness. So yeah, the extracurricular and leisure sides. So again, you've got all your sports teams. They're big into it in Bulgaria. Also the snow sports, fantastic thing that you can do in Bulgaria. A lot of our students get involved in with the mountains in Bulgaria. Plenty of parties and parades, international days. So they love to celebrate in Bulgaria. There's a bunch of different events that are organized for the students as part of that. So why study at Pleven University? There's a few reasons that you could go for it. It's a great city location. So it's right in the center of the country. It's easy to access other areas of the country, and it's a very comfortable city to be in as well. It's not one of the largest, but it's a very nice place. They are always renovating and expanding, like the equipment that we saw before there. As I said, one of the first of its kind in Eastern Europe. They're always the latest to have these sort of equipment. So it's a really exciting university and a really exciting community to be a part of. Now, the whole city is very friendly to students from abroad. You saw one of the things mentioned there is an international day, which is where they like to get the students to demonstrate their cultures, talk about where they're from, different foods, cuisines, and it's a big celebration. They do parades, and it's a wonderful event to witness. Thank you, Edmund.
Thanks, Tom. Now I'll tell you more about two popular universities also that we have in Europe. And the first one is Riga Stradins University. This university is located in Latvia. It's in the beautiful capital city of Riga, with wonderful cultural life and excellent transport links to other European hubs. Now, they offer medicine for 6 years, which you'll graduate as a doctor of medicine. Dentistry there is 5 years, which you graduate as a doctor of dental medicine and surgery. Now, you don't need to worry about preparing for an entrance test. Everything will be based on your application and how strong it is. And that's where our team will be creating a strong file for you to ensure that you have the highest chance of acceptance. Tuition fees for medicine is around 12,000 euros per year. Dentistry is around 14,000 euros per year. And the cost of living really ranges from 600 to 800 euros per month. And that's inclusive of rent, bills, food, internet, any other living expenses you'll have. Now, Riga actually has 2 intakes per year. They have the September intake and they have the February intake. And as Tom was saying, we've actually started taking applications for the February intake. So you can actually take advantage of the winter cohorts. Now, they have their state-of-art dental faculty, which allows you to have practical classes from the beginning of the course before you see live patients. Their simulation center are equipped with up-to-date mannequins to allow you to have early hands-on experience. Now, it's not always about work at the school. They also have an organized extracurricular activities from the likes of volleyball, you've got basketball, you've got dance classes, other team building activities. And these are all in place for students to ensure that they have an outlet to express their creative skills and talent. And they also have field trips. They also have ice fishing day out. They also organize things like graduation, Freshers Week, and New Year Eve parties. These are all organized by the school. One thing they do have, though, is they have an international student society, which basically is they have the Irish society, they have the Muslim society, they have Christian society. They also have a dental student society and an association for European medical and students, and so many more. Now, these schools are recognized across all the global medical councils and dental councils. Now, why would you study at Riga? Now, this is something that they're actually quite proud of as a school, is that 30 plus years of experience, they have that in teaching international schools, students. And 26% of their students are actually international students from the UK, the US, Europe, Africa, and many more. And another thing is that they have small class sizes, which ranges from 10 to 14, which makes for very much engaging lectures and seminars. And something they also do is they allow the students to take early hands-on experience from the beginning of the course, which allows you to prepare for your clinical placements. Now, another school that we can talk about is Medical University of Silesia. Now, Poland has actually been one of the top destinations for pursuing medicine and dentistry. Dentistry is 5 years, so you graduate as a doctor of dental surgery. Medicine is 6 years, so you graduate as a doctor of medicine. Now, Medical University of Silesia is located in the south of Poland, in Katowice, and has educated over 50,000 healthcare specialists since it started in the 40s. Now, they opened their English program back in 1996, which makes it one of the oldest European schools and a prime choice for all students who actually want to study medicine or dentistry in English. Now, they have an entrance test and a short interview, but don't worry. This is something that we actually prepare you by providing you with all the materials that you need to ace the test. The entrance test consists of basic biology and chemistry. Their tuition fees ranges from 11,000 euros for medicine, and dentistry is 12,000 euros. And this tuition fees can be paid semesterly. Living costs ranges from 600 to 800, which includes everything. And they also have 2 intakes per year. So you can actually join the February intake, which is coming up. We've taken applications for that also. Now, their state-of-the-art labs are comparable with other medical schools across the globe. They have halls that are equipped with resources for information, for very informative seminars and presentations. Their dental faculty has great phantom heads that allows you to really start clinical skills, develop them quite early on. And the simulation centers of the faculty allows you to have early hands-on experience, really a chance for you to develop your skills before you move on into the clinical phase of the course. Now, also, they have activities for all students. So whether you're looking to take part in or improve in your cooking skills, whether you want to paint, whether you want to do some climbing, they have boat sailing, horse riding, swimming. Maybe you want to get your groove on with a bit of dance classes. They also have some futsal, and they organize things like graduation, Freshers Week, and New Year parties. There are also other field trips that they have, national events, and they organize other conferences as well for the school. The great thing about the school is recognized by many medical and dental councils worldwide. Now, why would you want to study at Silesia? Well, being a vibrant city, it's known for hosting lots and lots of festivals over the summer. And a lot of the students can also take breaks from the city life and also take trips to their nature reserves. And the school has over 5,000 international students enrolled at the English program. So take advantage, and the school is there to take applications this year. Now, our team is always looking for new opportunities for medical and dental students who want to study abroad. And we're very, very particular about the schools that we choose to work with. So we have to work hard to ensure that these schools are recognized in major countries. Now, to tell you more, I'd like to tell you a bit more about the medical schools, which will cover that in a bit. But I'd like to invite back Osman to tell you about some of the overseas campuses that we've had recently that are being established in the UK. Osman?
Yeah, thank you, Edmund. Some really exciting universities, exciting options that are available for students. It's really good that you've spoken about these and given students some information about them. Remember, we will be available to speak to you directly one-on-one when you're ready to speak about these universities, and the sooner the better always. So some students have asked us, is it possible to study on a campus overseas outside the country where the university or the qualification will be awarded? So let's say, for example, Georgia. Some students have asked us, is it possible for us or the university to set up a campus in the UK where you'd be able to, on your own, study in the UK in a campus with teachers, with any components of the course being implemented outside the country where the course is being awarded or the degree is being awarded? So it's really important, and that's something that as doctors and dentists ourselves, we make it our mission to make sure that we give you transparent and honest advice always to make sure that your chances of success are the highest possible and the best possible outcome will be the result wherever you go and decide to study. So since students have asked us, we went and looked into it and researched this option. Is it possible for students to study on a campus outside Georgia where the university is located and where the university gives the degree? And we spoke to the regulatory body who regulates higher education institutions in Georgia. They're called EQE, Education Quality Enhancement. And they told us that it is implementing a program or implementing part of a program or implementing any component of a program outside Georgia is not possible. That's one of the reasons being that the regulatory body in Georgia has jurisdiction to regulate and accredit a program inside Georgia. They don't have jurisdiction to go to the UK and regulate the program there. So that's really important. And that's why we've quoted this part here. And I'm sure you've all read it now. It's not possible to change the place or the municipality, like a district or a city, for implementation of the educational program during the accreditation, so during a university while it's accredited. So that's really important to note down and be aware of. And we encourage students not to take our word for any of this, but to go and research for themselves, because we know that everything that we tell you is based on facts and based on real, honest, researched advice. So you can also scan here and read more on our blog as well, where you can get some more information about this and research it for yourself. and you can also contact EQE. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you, Esmond, for clarifying that and clearing things up. And I hope this will help a lot of you make the informed decision about your future, because the last thing you want to do is take a leap and waste the whole of the 5 or 6 years. Now, another subject that we know you're all interested in is really the globally recognized degrees. We work particularly with over 100 medical and dental schools, as you'll probably see on our website. And we have carefully chosen these schools because essentially we want you to come back or go to your home countries and practice successfully without any hindrances. So these schools for medicine are listed in the World Directory of Medical Schools. And they are recognized by lots of medical schools around the world, such as the GMC in the UK, the Australian Medical Council in Australia. In the US, they have different medical boards, and these degrees are recognized there too. For the students in India that want to practice there, the degrees are also recognized, and many other ones. Now, for the ones that want to come back to the UK, from 2024, the General Medical Council will be introducing a licensing test called MLA, which stands for Medical Licensing Assessment. Now, what this will be is a license test before you practice. So this will be applicable to everyone, whether you studied in the UK or whether you studied abroad. The whole purpose of this test is to create a uniformed way of working so that patients will feel confident knowing that you have been tested before practicing. Now, I would like to invite Tom to tell you in detail about how and what we can do to help you take that journey abroad. Tom?
Thank you very much, Edmund. Yes, so how can Medlink students help you? This is the biggest question, I think, for a lot of students when they contact us. So to start off with, it's a free consultation. Then we go through the application management, the help settling in, and the full ongoing support. So these are the core aspects of our service. And just to jump into those in a little bit more detail. So when it comes to the consultation, it's about giving you advice. It's about listening to you, what your priorities are, what your budget is, what grades you have. And by using these pieces of information based on the experience that we've got to try and find you the most suitable options to go and study abroad. Now, from that point, we then move on to the application management itself. So this is where, as I mentioned before, we've got those dedicated admissions teams specifically for the different countries we work with. So they will be completing your documents to the highest degree that needs to be done to guarantee that they are accepted by the university. They'll also be giving you all the preparation materials that you need to ace the entrance exams at that university. So you've got, again, the best possible chance of success. But it doesn't stop there. Once you get there, we've then got our professionally trained on-the-ground support teams. So these are the teams that will be picking you up from the airport, that will be helping you to settle in, to find accommodation, get a bank account, show you around the city, countless other things. All the things that moving to a new country would usually be very scary for a lot of people, I could imagine. So we just help to make it a very comfortable, very smooth transition, just to ensure that you've got your best chance again of being successful, getting to the school and just having a fantastic experience, as many of our students do every single year. And that support is ongoing. So you've constantly got the on-campus support, the boots on the ground, academic support from older students that are part of the Medlink community as well as 24/7 customer care. We've got our UK customer service line. You've got your admissions rep, you've got your advisor, and we're all here to help you, and we want to see you succeed. It's the best thing for us here at Medlink to see our students, which will be on very shortly, to see how much they've grown from being so nervous before and worried about it, and now they're here and having this fantastic experience and obviously just pursuing their dream, and we love to help you with that. Back to you, Edmund.
Thank you. Exactly. There's nothing better than we want to do is to see you succeed. A lot of students that come to us, listen, we know it's a big step. You know, a lot of you don't even dream about studying abroad. This comes up when, unfortunately, the opportunities aren't given to you. So we understand that it's not just about packing your bags and and then just flying away. It takes a lot of planning, and this is where we're here to help you and guide you. And there will be students here tonight who will talk about their experience and what gave them that courage to do that. Now we're going to proceed with the Q&A section, which will be of two parts of frequently asked questions and the live questions from you guys. So keep them coming. There's been lots and lots of questions. Now you can write your questions in the Q&A section of the Zoom during the presentation. So you can see the screenshot, the location there. And then you can also upvote your existing questions that are more interesting to you. Now, I'd like to present the students that are here tonight. We have a large number of students that are willing to take the risk to follow their dreams. Some of them are here to share their fascinating experiences with you and to inspire you guys to take the next step forward to becoming a doctor or a dentist. So we have Raja, who's a fourth-year medical student who's studying at the European University in Georgia. We have Shinga, who's just about to start his final year at the University of Niš in Serbia. We have Mohammed, who's a third-year medical student at the Medical University of Silesia in Poland. We also have Netmi, who is a first-year medical student also at the Medical University of Silesia. And then we have Munya, who's also a first-year student at the Pleven Medical University in Bulgaria. So we'll go through a few of the questions now. We love the questions. Now, the first question is, what is the success rate of dental applications or applicants? And is it possible to not be able to secure a place? Well, yes, the answer is yes. Now, going abroad, there are so many things that you have to consider. And I'll answer this question also for medical students. Now, a lot of these universities abroad have now, over the recent years, started receiving a lot of application. Some students might try to apply directly. And some of you may have gone onto the website of the universities to really look at their admission requirements, what's needed. Some things might be vague to you. You might actually try to apply, and then you might miss something in the application. So the university puts your file on the side, you get rejected. So a small mistake could cost you an entire year. Now, what we've done over the years as an organization is we help you with everything from the application process, what specific documents you need. We even help you prepare for the test or an interview. And we do everything we can in the process to make sure that your application actually gets looked at. So, of course, there might be some help here when you come through organizations like us to make sure that you have a good success rate of actually getting into the school, whether it's to do medicine or to do dentistry. Now, for the students that tend to be quite nervous about sitting a test, don't worry. This is something that we encourage you. We have a team here who some might even give you some lessons if you need that. And so to answer this question, yes, we help hundreds and hundreds of students every year get into medical or dental school. And yes, it might be possible not to get in, but we do everything we can to make sure that you don't waste that year. Now, this is another question. Let's have a look. How long does it take to make an application or the process for the applicant? Now, who can answer this? I think this is something that we can get Tom to answer this question. Tom, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you, Edmund. How long does it take to make and process an application? This is a very subjective question because for every university, as I mentioned before, they're very flexible with various different requirements, how the documents are processed. I know you heard a little bit from our admissions representative, Victoria, about this as well. So just to give you a kind of range, some applications can be done in a matter of weeks, sometimes as little as a month. Whereas other applications can take a lot longer than that. Sometimes it can be 2 to 3 months. You've also got to bear in mind that there's a lot of moving parts. So you've got to make sure that the documents are in order and everything that's sent to us is correct the first time. Sometimes we might need an extra document or something else. The other thing that's to do with the application is, of course, the entrance test. And then you've got to ask the question, how long does it take to prepare for an entrance test? So I've known some students go to schools and they've done not that much preparation, only a few weeks beforehand. I've known other students that have prepared months in advance using the materials that we've provided for them for the entrance test. So all in all, it's quite a difficult one to really put a point on. But whatever stage you're at and whenever you inquire with us, we will have options that will be suitable for you and for your time frame. So I think the best answer is get on a call with us and we can discuss it and we can find what works best for you. Thank you, Edmund.
Thank you so much for that, Tom. Let's look at the next question. So the other question is, do I qualify for medicine if I have a nursing degree and the following subjects from high school, say life sciences, maths, geography, agriculture, life orientation, and English? Dana, can you shed some light on this, please?
Hey, Edmund. Yes, of course. That's a great question, by the way. Many students have this question. They'd like to know with their qualifications if they can join medicine or not. And some students don't have scientific subjects or maybe have one scientific subject and feel like if I have one scientific subject, I'm not qualified to join medicine. Well, that's not the case. Whether you have scientific subjects in high school or you don't have scientific subjects, we can still apply for medicine and get you accepted into a medicine school. Based on the qualifications you have and comparing them to the options that you could be qualified for. And having a degree with nursing, which has subjects related to scientific subjects, we can use this degree to recognize some of the subjects and help you skip a semester or two based on the subjects that match the medicine program. So yes, you are qualified to study medicine.
Thank you very much, Dana. Let's look at the next one. By the way, keep the questions coming. We're loving them all. We're going to answer some live also. Has there been a big increase in application in Europe since COVID happened? Tom, are you able to shed some light? Because I know this has been something that we've actually seen happen a lot over the years since the pandemic.
Yes, yeah, thank you, Evan. Absolutely. Is the short answer. There has been a huge increase in applications. I think the COVID pandemic has brought apart, a lot of unfortunate cases, and one of them is medical admissions. I think it's put a lot of students to want to go into medicine, which is fantastic. It's really motivated and given a lot of drive and purpose to students to decide, I want to go there, I want to make a difference, I want to help people. And it's really brought medicine to the forefront of every single one of our minds. So I think that's a big factor to increasing the amount of applications. But then you've got to look at a lot of these countries where the medical education system was almost falling apart during the pandemic. And as a result of that, a lot of students have had to retake years. A lot of students have had to reapply. There's been problems with A-level results at the time and people not being able to sit their exams. So there's a whole multitude of issues, which has meant that a lot of students have looked for alternatives. And because of that, yes, there has been a huge increase, which really works as a benefit now because we're starting to see even bigger communities of international students at some of the most popular universities that we work with. And it's fantastic to see how they're getting on and the things that they're organizing together, the studies that they're doing together. It's a really, really great process. So yes, it has increased quite a bit. Thank you, Edmund.
Thank you so much for that, Tom. So let's have a look at the next question. How competitive are the applications for studying in Europe? I think this will be a great question for one of the students who are with us tonight. Shinga, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you see me as well?
Yes, we can see you also.
Okay, great. When it comes to the competitiveness of studying in Europe, I would say that it's fairly competitive because it's become quite popular to become a student in Europe. And I think it's a very good opportunity as well. So I think it's a combination of availability and opportunity in Europe, which is quite, I think, fair for everybody.
Fantastic. And how did you find your experience? I mean, from when you started your journey, I know you're about to finish, but how was your journey when you started and the experience?
Yeah, my journey it was pretty difficult. It was tough at the beginning, but then once you got used to the system and you start to understand that how to become independent and self-reliable and hardworking, you begin to appreciate the journey that you've taken and start to see that this is where I'm heading to and this is where I'm going to go. And you can see other students starting from the first year, how they start. So it's actually quite nice because you see how they find it difficult. And I have the opportunity to guide them and help them and tell them that, look, it's going to be hard, but with some guidance here and there, it's going to be okay for you.
Absolutely. And it's not just about, I think the misconception is that it's just going to be easy when you get there, but medicine is a tough course. So of course you will have your challenges, but as you're saying, everyone is there to support each other, to make sure that you get through it together, and come out successful. So thank you so much, Shinga.
100%. Sure.
Let's have a look at the next question. So, if you apply for a European medical school course, does it count as one of your 5 choices? I think this will be a good question for Dana. Are you there?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. I love the question coming up. Keep it coming, guys. That's a very important question that many students want to know the answer to. The application to European applications are independent. They're not related to the UK applications that you're applying, because you're applying through UCAS. To Europe, you're applying through us. So you can apply to as many universities as you want. However, you don't have to apply to several universities, because we will be guiding you on the university that you meet your qualifications meet the criteria, and where we can get you a very high chance of accepted and a guaranteed acceptance. So no, they are not related, and it's not counted as one of the 5 choices. It's an independent application.
Thank you so much for that, Dana. Right, let's have a look at the next one. This is a good one. This is a very good question. I wanted to ask if it's safe for Muslims to practice in these countries like Poland and Romania. And I think this would be a perfect question for one of our students in Silesia. Mohammed, are you there?
Hello.
Can you shed some light on this question? Because this is a great question that's been brought up.
Of course. First, can you see me?
Yes, I can see you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so if it's safe to study, practice Islam in Poland, I would say yes, it's safe. But if it's easy, well, it depends on the city. So in Silesia, in Katowice, where I am, there's 2 mosques in the city center, but you have to look for it yourself. I think I just Googled Islamic Cultural Center and it came up, and then I went and I inquired, and there is places to practice Islam, and also for eating. So the culinary, I can say that word. The culinary requirements for Islamic people are also possible, especially in Katowice. So I would say Poland, yeah, it's pretty safe. There's no unsafeness, so it should be fine.
Thank you. I think a lot of students get they get worried about all of these things, and we have to consider that when you're going abroad, because there's so many factors. A lot of our students also are Muslim, so we have to consider. We get asked. I've been asked this before. Will I have to become vegetarian for the next 6 years? This is a worry, and a lot of students want to make sure that they can still practice. And it's so diverse. You might meet a Muslim student from the US. You might meet someone from Australia. You get to learn from their cultures as well. And so it's okay to, if you're a Christian also, you might go to a church nearby and see which one works for you. So you kind of get to do a lot when you're there. Now, let's have a look at the next one. Has Brexit affected degree recognition? That's a great question, and I'll answer this one. Now, the General Medical Council wanted to make changes. This was back in 2012. They wanted to introduce the MLA, but this has been postponed so many years. Now, Brexit hasn't really necessarily changed the way the degrees are recognized. The only thing that's changed slightly is how you register to practice. So the MLA licensing exam is what you'll do when you come back to the UK. And students are still able to come back, whether you are from the UK or whether you just want to work. The UK and the NHS are very welcoming to all graduates who want to work here. You know, we have over 30,000 Indian doctors that are working here. So Brexit hasn't necessarily changed the degree, the way the degrees are recognized. It's really how to register. And one thing we also do is we help with this. We help you register with the GMC when you come back. The processes, what you need to do, because our team of doctors have been through it. So we understand what you need to do when you come back. Now let's look at the next one. What's the next question? And the next question is, for a student with a first class in biomedical science and a good GCSE result, however, a poor A-level result, for graduate entry to medicine, are A-levels taken into consideration? I think this will be a good question for Tom, who deals with students also that do graduate entry. Tom, are you there?
Hi, yeah, thanks, Edmund. So I have been asked this question a lot, almost on a weekly basis. There are so many students who obviously it came to the disappointment of results day with A-levels, and they decided to take one of those options to, of course, jump into a degree in the UK. So yes, it is still possible, regardless of the A-level results. The graduate programs, I'm thinking of the best way to put this here. I think they have a lot of common sense. It's not like applying in the UK where you could have a biomed degree, you could have A-levels, everything, but you know, if your GCSE English is 1 mark too short, they won't look at your application. It's nothing like that. They want to see what you've achieved and if it's enough for you to train and work hard and study hard to become a competent and successful doctor on their course. So, of course, if you've done a biomedical science degree, you've got a first class, it's very relevant, you've got lots of similar topics there, you've worked really hard for it, they are going to have that level of flexibility that you're looking for. Especially with a lot of these schools as well, they're also looking at you as an individual. So they'll be doing an interview with you and they'll be looking at yourself and how passionate you are, the experiences that you've done. And of course, as someone who's done biomedical science, you've done a lot of similar and relatable experiences. And this really helps in your favor as well for the application. So absolutely, you don't need to have the top A-level results. You don't need to have the top GCSE results. If you've got the degree and you're looking for a graduate program, you can get in touch with us and we can definitely find something that will work for you. Thanks, Edmund.
Thank you so much, Tom. Let's have a look at the next question. Fantastic. How safe is Georgia from the war in the Ukraine and Russian attack? Now, safety is a big thing for our students. We also have to consider that as well. This would be a fantastic question for one of our students studying in Georgia. Raja, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Can you see me?
Yes. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, everyone? I think hopefully everyone's doing well and I'm enjoying the presentation so far. A lot of information. So getting to the question itself. So you can literally still search up, and even the latest rankings to this day say that Tbilisi is one of the safest cities in the world. And since the wars have been happening, there's been no effect felt in Tbilisi at all. Like there's been no difference of you can notice some things like security, whatever. There's been no effect at all. Things have been running normal. University's been running normal. Our university is actually one of the few, I think, in Georgia, which has been completely offline since the start of the second term, which was in April until August, completely offline everything. And I had a clerkship as well where there was no effect to it at all. So everything was actually still running quite smoothly, which is really good to see.
Fantastic. And how did you feel before going into Georgia? I know you considered certain schools, but you ended up here. What was that for you?
So my story was, was basically I had an offer to study in the UK, but I had to take a year out in order to accept the offer, and that would be for an undergraduate degree. So for me, 6 years, till I become a doctor was a bit too long. So obviously I want to get on specialties and stuff. That takes a lot more training, a lot more time. So I explored Georgia as an option to online in Europe, and since then I think it's the best decision I made. I'm able to study enjoy my degree. Even like all the clinical stuff, like OSCEs, for example, is exactly what UK medical schools do here as well. Still to a high level of standard, had a good time. Like travel, which is one of my biggest regrets until I finished my degree. I couldn't travel anywhere. Always busy with exams and other certain things in my life, but I was able to travel, have a good time. And since then, I think it was the best decision that I took to go to Georgia, Tbilisi, and start studying there, And hopefully, I've got about now 3 years now. So I've just finished my third year. 3 years now of a bit more subjects, but a lot more of just, controller and clerkship, which is what they call hospital rotations. And hopefully I'll be graduating from there in 2025 and coming back.
Fantastic. How has the face-to-face classes been in comparison to when you did some online studies?
Because so for me, my last year, my BSc was completely online. And I absolutely hate it because I'm that type of person. If I'm not face-to-face, I'm going to, my attention span is going to be completely off. I can't cope with it. I get too distracted too quickly. So being back to face-to-face was so much better, actually engaging, you have discussions and seminars, you actually teach us things. Because obviously in the moment, you can hear another student talk about something and be like, oh, wait, from that, I have a problem with this. And also doing all the clinical practical stuff, face-to-face is so much better as well. And then being able to just, socialize as well. Now you get to see everyone on campus. You can run into people that you may not run into normally as well. Make new friends as well, because also, at new university, it's the best thing. Actually enjoy the university campus as well, the cafeteria, the weather as well. And best thing for me as well, hospital rotations as well, being able to go and do my clerkships now. And 100% so much better. Actually feels like you're studying something while just sat behind a computer screen,
Absolutely. Have you had any practical classes? These are questions that are coming in. These are live, and I'll be going through them. Have you had any practical classes since you've been there? Yeah. What did you do?
I'm in my 30s. I had quite a few actually. So I had one of the subjects was clinical professional skills. This is the base and the foundation that the bread and butter that makes the doctor. Injections, doing blood pressure, looking for heart auscultation, stuff like that. And also had even a bit more complicated things once, so examination for ascites, abdominal pain, enema. So all has been practical in person. We're practicing on dummies, and also the big practical one for my first clerkship, which was clinical radiology. I was able to see bronchoscopies, CT scans, MRIs up and live, see how you give the IV contrast to a patient. So practical exposure has been quite a lot. And now I know for a fact that, because thank God all my exams went really well. So in October when I go back, I'll be starting to do internal medicine, which is cardiology, pulmonary, and nephrology, so kidneys, and also pediatrics. So I'm really excited, looking forward to that as well.
Oh, fantastic. We are really excited for your journey, and we can't wait for you to finish and come back.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you so much for answering those questions for us. Let's have a look at the next question. How often do students generally get to visit home? Are unis flexible, or are there allocated times to visit home? I think this will be a great question for Munya to answer. Munya, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Fantastic. Can you help answer this question for us so the students know how often you get to go home?
In Pleven, you are allowed to go home and in holidays only. And in first year, they have classes, which is obligatory. So you have to stay. You can only miss 2 or 1 class every subject. So, but they're really supportive. If you miss classes, you can retake them for any reason, but you need to have a reason to be gone. Yeah.
And how have you found your experience so far being in a school when you started? How was it for you?
For me, it's hard. It was first time I was leaving home. I was scared and I didn't know what to do, and I got homesick. I wanted to come back, so I come back for the Easter. Had to come back, but I think it's doable in Pleven. It's quite hard. The courses are hard, but if you focus, you can achieve it. Yeah.
Fantastic, thank you. Just one more question before you go. How has it been for you being a young Muslim girl in Bulgaria? How's it been for you?
I've only been there one semester, and I was there in Ramadan. Actually, I've been very nice. We have a mosque there, and I used to go to the mosque for iftar. And there's halal places, and it's quite safe place. I used to go to the mosque alone. It was like 10-15 minutes away from me, and I didn't meet any racism or anything yet. So far, it has been very well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that. And we're really excited for your journey also. Let's have a look at another question. How to deal with patients and the language barrier? This is a brilliant question. I know, Shinga, you're about to finish the course. Could you shed some light on how your clinical experience has been at Niche?
Yeah, niche has been quite surprising, really, because when I entered Serbia, I didn't really know much about the country, and I expected for them to speak in their local language. So mentally, I was trying to prepare myself to learn Serbian. But then, to my surprise, is that English is their second language, so it made it a little bit easier for me to engage with the patients and communicate. But through my experience, I realized it's important to also acquire the local language as well, so that you can extract more information and have a better understanding and the communication with the patient. So I think that the language barrier can be a problem, but then if you're willing to find ways to solve that problem by learning specific elements of the language to engage with the patients, I don't think you'll find it too difficult.
Fantastic. Do you find has that ever hindered you from what you're doing at the minute with your career, with your current placements?
No, it's not hindered me. In fact, it's motivated me to want to improve and to try to learn the culture of a different nation and build a more better relationship with different people from different backgrounds. So it's sort of a pleasant challenge that you want to have in your life.
Fantastic. And lastly, for you also, can you tell us sort of how the last semester, the rotations, what you took part in, did you have any challenges at all? And what did you do to overcome those when you were doing those placements?
Yeah, I had quite a lot of placements during the summer. I did neonatology, pediatrics, surgery, and rehabilitation. And it was quite interesting having to maneuver myself in different areas during the day. And like when you're learning different subjects, there's quite a lot of information to take in. So I think what was challenging for me was that it was different subjects requiring different skills. And it's all about trying to separate your time accordingly and organize yourself as to how you study all of these subjects and how do you apply the skills that you've learned. But in Serbia, there's quite a lot of things that you can learn, and it's a very good opportunity for students who want to have that clinical knowledge and apply those skills that they haven't been able to do in other parts of the world.
Fantastic. Shinga, there has been some more questions. We're going through the live questions now, and there has been some questions for you. And keep the questions coming. We are receiving hundreds and hundreds of them. These are amazing questions. The question here for you is, does the University of Niš have a hostel or student accommodation, and how much is it?
So far, I've seen that there is a student accommodation for students, but I'm aware that it is for the Serbians. However, they do offer apartments for foreign students, and it ranges from the prices of 100 euros and above, depending on what you need and the equipment that you need inside the apartment.
Ah, okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Inga. Well, we're still going through them, so obviously stick around, and there will be some more questions
Sure.
for you.
No problem.
Another question that is getting asked is about, again, the language barrier and in terms of the social life and the city in general. So I think this will be a good question. Munya, are you still with us?
Yes.
Fantastic. How is the social life for you at school, and kind of the language differences since you've been there?
I don't really know Bulgarian yet. I have been only there for one semester, but there is international students, people from everywhere. So you meet new people, and they're very nice. Senior students are really nice people. They guide you. There is events you can attend. Yeah, I think it's been okay.
Fantastic. And are you being taught the language currently in school?
Yes, we have the Bulgarian language, and you have to attend the Bulgarian classes. Not only the Bulgarian classes, actually, you have to attend every class, which the schedule is, which is scheduled. And if you don't attend classes, you don't get the signature where in exam session. So if you don't have a signature from every teacher, you can't take the exam. So you have to redo classes.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. I think Mohammed has joined back again. Mohammed, could you shed some light on how life as a student in Katowice is, and has there been any language barrier for you since being in Poland?
Okay, so I've been in Katowice for 2 years, and I also studied 1 year before that in Warsaw. So that's how I know Medlink, because I used them to help me transfer. And luckily, in both universities, included in the first 2 years, is a total of 120 hours of Polish. It's integrated into your schedule. So as you have normal seminars, you will also have seminars in Polish. So after the second year, which I am in now, like I'm approaching the end of my second year, I can proficiently order in short stores or ask for directions. So there's very little much of a language barrier when it comes to life on the streets or when you're shopping or you're out. But when it comes to patients, also integrated in your Polish course in Katowice is medical Polish. So words like doctor-patient dialogue, so a typical dialogue presentation of what a doctor would ask a patient and what a patient would say to a doctor, named of body parts, surgical tools, and so on. So I would say there's enough resources to help you overcome any barriers.
Oh, fantastic. And being in Katowice and from where you were before, how would you compare the two?
So Warsaw, obviously being the capital city, was much bigger, more of like a London big city life kind of style. And Katowice is more like a medium city. It's actually the 16th largest. And it's only an hour away from Krakow, which is the city that houses the Auschwitz Museum. And Warsaw is still only 2.5 hours away by train. Both trains are incredibly cheap, like £5 to Krakow and 30 to Warsaw, well, 30 for first class. And yeah, so it's not.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mohammed. Guys, keep the questions coming, but we will only prioritize the ones that get voted. So make sure you do vote them in there and keep them coming and keep voting for the ones that you want answered. Let's go through some more questions. A few more questions there. Let's see. We have, all right. So do you need 3 A levels to apply, or is GCSE only okay? This is a question that I think Tom gets a lot also. Tom, are you there?
Yes, yeah, thanks, Edmund. So with regards to the requirements, again, as we said beforehand, with these universities, they are completely different. It's not like just applying within your country, where every university, let's take the UK, for example, every university in the UK has got very similar requirements. There might be some tiny differences, but it's all the good UCAT scores, passing the interviews, getting the good score with that, the A levels, etc., etc. Now, when it comes to Europe, you're looking at many, many different countries. And sometimes even within these countries, the entrance requirements for the universities can be drastically different. So regardless of what it is that you have, we can find options for you. For example, some universities, they prefer much more that students take their own entrance exam in the sciences to prove their scientific knowledge. And for some of the schools, that's more important than the A-levels, because you've got to think they're international programs. So they're taking on students from all various different schools and education systems around the world. So for a lot of them, the easier way to compare these students and to decide which students are capable of doing the medicine course, they will just get them subject to their own test. And because of that, these schools can be very flexible in terms of what you've achieved before. So as long as you work hard for your admission and for preparing for your entrance test, you've got a fantastic chance, regardless of what it is. Just get in touch with us. Let us know how you've got on, how good or bad you've done, and we'll find the option that's right for you. Thanks, Edmund.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Tom. Okay, so I think this is also a very relevant one that's popping up in the Q&A section, which is also good because I think this ties in with a lot of the students who have just done their A-levels, and a lot of the students are thinking, maybe I should take a gap year and reapply again and try again. And this is something that's coming in there. Now, I think this will be a question for Kadi, Raja. What advice would you give the students that are looking to resit their A-levels and take a gap year and go traveling, all the fun stuff? What sort of advice would you give them?
In terms of what advice I'd give them, I'll tell them the truth. Like, these days, for me, I didn't have that time. I didn't take it out, but I was able to do both things in one go. I was able to go and study medicine, but also travel to a whole different country. And while I've been there, because Georgia is like quite a convenient place, quite close to a lot of other places. Like, for example, New Year's Eve, literally me and my friends, on a whim, thought about going to Turkey for the whole week. And flights are so much cheaper, costs so much cheaper from there. From there, we went straight out to New Year's for a whole week to go celebrate. So if you want a place where you can go travel, see new cultures, also take a year out, that's what it is. But by studying abroad, I think you kind of do that with it as well, because you're able to go see a new culture, have your fun, or to explore brand new places, but also study and do medicine and not waste any time that you have. Because especially students who are in my position, who may be graduates, there are not a lot of graduates that prefer this option, because I know the statistics for graduate entry medicine in the UK is really tough. Like, I think one of the statistics I looked over when I applied, which was in the year 2021, it was like for every graduate place, it was about 15 people that year at minimum, which was ridiculous. So I feel like for those people, definitely, if you want to go explore, have a new adventure, have a new challenge, then going abroad to study medicine is definitely one of them. You can find new cultures, new people, and you can do the thing that you want to love doing. Because I feel like anyone doing medicine here must have a passion and drive towards it, of course. No one wants to study 6 years in university for something they don't have a passion drive, and I believe everyone here at this seminar does have that. So I would advise definitely go abroad.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that. Mohammed, what advice would you give to students that are thinking of taking a gap year and going traveling and retaking levels again?
So for me, I would have absolutely enjoyed something like traveling and doing something like pre-med, which is what I did. So for sure, if you have the time and money, for sure, do something like this, because it can be added to your resume or your CV. And it's also something to talk about both in your medical interviews, depending on what you're doing in your gap year, and when you apply for a job. So I did 6 months pre-medical course where I got like some training in anatomy and some preview of the subjects that I would be having in first and second year medicine, and also to just have like a look at the life of like a doctor to see if it's okay for me. So I highly recommend doing something medically related in the gap year. But if you want to do traveling, then of course, because it can be added to your resume and increase your prospects when it comes to applying for a job.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. From a student advisor's perspective, Tom, what advice would you give the students who just finished their A-levels, some students just about, had 2 A's and a B and are upset about it. And so what advice would you give those students who are thinking about taking a gap year?
It is a really interesting question. And I think gap years work for some and they really don't work for others. I've known of a few people in the past that have taken a gap year and it's turned into a gap life. But of course, if you can be disciplined, then it can work out for you. One thing that I would say, just as a bit of a caution really, is we are seeing an increase in university requirements across Europe. So this is continent-wide. We have seen requirements over the past couple of years soar up. So what I would say is consider the gap year carefully, because the options that are available to you this year and available in the winter intakes as well may not be available for the main September, October intake in the following year. And we will always find places to help. But if, for example, you're one of those students where, like Edmund was saying, you've got your results and you've had a look online, you found a university, you've thought fantastic, but then, there's something holding you back or something that you're concerned about and you think, I'll just take a year to think about it. Just bear in mind that it's not 100% set that university may be available. But of course, we can help you regardless with that. So yeah, I think it was just to add there. Thanks, Edmund.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Tom. Let's go through a few more questions. By the way, keep them coming. Another one that is about what sort of grades you need for medicine and dentistry in Europe. Dana, I know you get a lot of students that want to know what grades they need. What sort of advice or what would you tell the students that are thinking about doing it and think maybe they don't have the grades?
That's a great question, and that's right, Edmund. Many students come to me asking, what are my requirements before they send their transcripts for anything, because they think that because they're not qualified in their home country, they're not going to be qualified to study abroad. Well, every country has different requirements, every university. Even if we look at several universities in the same country, we'll find a university having requirements, for example, as minimum 80%. Some university 70, some university 60, some university 50, the passing grade. So whatever grades you have, we will always manage to help you find a university where your qualifications meet their requirements. And we can assure you that you are able and qualified to study medicine. Doesn't mean if you didn't do really well in your A-levels or in your last year of high school, then you don't get the chance to achieve your dream and become a doctor. We are always here to help you find the opportunity and continue and achieve that dream. So feel free to get in touch with our team, and whatever qualifications you have, we'll take a look at them and advise you whatever universities that you are qualified for.
Fantastic. Thank you. Let's have another question. I think this one is it common to be homesick? If so, how do you deal with this? I think this will be a perfect question for Raja. Raja, are you still with us?
Yeah, 1 second, I'm still here, yeah.
Did you hear the question?
I did. So with the homesick one, because I even got a bit homesick when I was studying in the UK, when I was in Exeter, for example. So with the homesick question, I can't lie. What the best thing is for what happens to me as well. I like calling home, quite like at least once a day. I'll call home, check what's going on. With the European university, what the best thing is, which is different from actually the UK, is that you get quite big holidays. So I get about a month and a week, a month and 2 weeks off actually, from end of February to April. So you have such a good amount of time to get home. You have December like a week off as well. You can visit home as well. But how I cope with the most is just I keep in touch. Obviously, I'm lucky to have my friends there with me at university, so we end up getting together and doing stuff. Just keeps your mind off it as well. But the best thing to look forward to is the big breaks that you have, so that once you finish your difficult year, you've gone through your degrees, done your exams, done all your clinics, you're happy to go home. You can just go back home and you can truly relax. You don't really get any work to do holidays. The best thing is that to make sure that you work full on during the time you're there, and then you can do a bit of reading and stuff, to help you keep yourself a bit sharp, but you can fully relax in your holiday. It's not like in the UK. I actually still have coursework to do over the holidays, so I couldn't really call it a holiday to be honest with you. I still had work to do, but here it's not like that at all.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Another question. Let's go through this. I tried to go to dentistry in Portugal as a pharmacy graduate, but after 2 months, they told me the course wouldn't be running in English as they didn't have enough students. This is a great question. Well, it's a question and a statement in itself. I'd like to bring back Tom to help go through this, because I think this will help a lot of students understand the types of schools and where most English students tend to go to. Tom, are you there?
Yeah, thank you, Edmund. I'd love the opportunity now to elaborate on this a little bit, because I have a lot of students that ask me, they want to go places that are very close to home, maybe places that they recognize. And quite often for UK students, in particular, that is Western European countries, places like Spain, like Portugal. Now, the problem with these countries is their emphasis and their priority is not on these international programs so much. So quite often, some of them will advertise them. They might be quite expensive, due to the higher level of economy in these countries. And this is the first one of many that I've heard, similar kind of stories. I've had a couple that were the same for medicine in Spain, where I've helped a few people to transfer from this year. I think they actually went over to Bulgaria in the end. But it is the case with a lot of these Western countries where they'll put on programs and they'll try to do English taught programs, but it will just be off the bat. They'll be trying to do them for the first time. And another couple of things that I've heard from these programs is that quite often the teachers aren't really well prepared to teach in English. Even if they speak basic English themselves, that's not the same as being trained in medical terminology. And this is vital. It's something that's very important to really help you with your studies. And a lot of the time, these courses, they will get asked after a few months, okay, now you're going to have to learn the native language, and then you can start the course again. Which is a nightmare for students. They've tried so hard, they've got into medical school, they've started studying, realized that it's not quite as English as they were hoping, and then they're hit with this. This is why you've got to be very careful with where you apply for. So ourselves as an organization, we look at courses that have a good track record, that have been doing these studies for a long, long time, that are very well equipped with their facilities, but also with their teaching in the English language. Because sometimes it's not just some pretty pictures and some nice locations that can mean it's a good university. This is not the case. You've really got to dive deep into these schools to find the right ones. And this is what we aim to achieve every single year when we're helping our students. Back to you, Edmund.
Thank you so much for that, Tom. This is also another question that's popping up a lot. I think it was answered before, but it's still coming up. And is it common to feel lonely studying abroad? I think a lot of students are really worried that if they went abroad, they'll be by themselves, there'll be no one there. They first get to the country and they will be lost. And as I'm sure you guys have been listening to, one of the things that Tom was saying was, we will help you every step of the way. This is from the application for when you actually get to the country. There is someone out there that is waiting for you at the airport. And we really insist on helping you, because getting to a new country you've never stepped foot in, we have to ensure that you get that support you need, helping you find accommodation, where to buy groceries, where to buy food, restaurants, everything, so that you can settle in. And a lot of students want to go somewhere that has other students from their countries. So we deal with a lot of British students who want to go somewhere that has hundreds of British students studying there, because it would be nice to have someone that's either from the UK, we've had students that have met their old high school friends there. So you'll never feel that you're by yourself. You'll have that support that you need every single step of the way. I still speak to Raja because he's there, he's still in Georgia, but I still talk to him. Sometimes he might need something. Our team over there might help. If we can help him in the UK, we also do. So he'll never feel like he has to go back to the parents and ask them questions. There is always someone out there to help you get through whatever else you need there. So if you are feeling this way, don't worry. We'll sit down, have a call with you, and ensure that you find the best option out there where you feel comfortable to go to. Right, let's have another question. Let's have a look. Where do we have, all right, so what's the most commonly asked questions? Let's have a look. Okay, so here's another question. I noticed that European University of Georgia, the program in English mentions something about having to take Georgian language and literature. Is that absolutely required? I think this will be another question for you, Raja. I think a lot of students are taking a keen interest in Georgia. Can you shed some light on this, please?
So there's actually two options. You can, so it's a part of a compulsory component where you can take either Georgian language, or you can take medical English, which is in other words Latin. But I'll be honest with you guys, I took Georgian language. I took Georgian language 1 and 2, and not saying that I didn't completely take the best attention to it, but I was able to revert to get to the class. That teachers are very supportive. They don't expect you to be completely fluent. No. They just expect you to, like, you know, put a bit of effort in. And plus, kind of like, it's really helpful. You learn key term and phrases there, because everyone does speak English in Tbilisi. It's quite common, but it's also very good to know Georgian, because when you go out and you need to know something, and not everyone may speak English, you know, like when you're in a supermarket or you're going through like the market stores and stuff, like having a couple of useful terms in Georgian really helps. And plus, when you actually go to the class, it's actually quite fun, quite easy. It's quite easy to pass as well. And like I said, even when you go start doing clerkships, when you can speak a little bit Georgian, it kind of, they get quite excited, because obviously you understand it's a quite a small population of 3.5 million. So when they see someone else who's coming to their country studying, has made a bit of effort, you need to say hello to the Georgian. It makes patients feel at ease, make them feel more happy and comfortable as well. So it all in helps your degree. And I'll be honest with you, someone who I generally thought I would struggle with it completely, it's quite easy to do, and it's quite fun, for sure.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Another question. Out of all the universities, which is the best for medicine? And I think one of the advisors would be great at answering this, because, you know, every single student that we speak to, which university might be great for one, might not be for another student. So it's very personal. So I'd like to bring back Tom to help kind of answer this question in detail. Tom, are you there?
Hi, yes, I am. Yeah, this is a really interesting question. It's also one that we get asked on probably most of our calls as advisors. Once we've had a conversation with them and we've spoken about everything, we've answered a load of questions, it always comes up, Tom, what is the best medical school in Europe? I want to go to the best medical school. And it is an extremely subjective question. It really does depend on you as an individual. And I think that's why it's so important for us as advisors to spend a lot of time with you initially to try and work out what would be most suited for you. Because it's not just down to something as simple as just looking up rankings online. You know, things like that. It's a lot of marketing. It's a lot of kind of how much medical research the university publishes. It doesn't determine how supportive they're going to be, for example. It doesn't determine how well they teach in English. It doesn't always even determine the level of their facilities that they have on the campus, and also the clinical training. So things like this, we really need to look at the priorities for you as an individual and try to work out what combination of things is best suited to what university. From that point, we are able to find the best medical school for you as an individual. Back to you, Edmund.
Thank you so much for that, Tom. Dana, I know you also get this question a lot. How can you kind of help shed some light on this for the student asking for the best ones out there?
Now, it is a very common question, as Tom said. Mainly every student asks this: what's the best university for me? Or many students, when we discuss options based on the qualifications they have, they tell me, Dana, I have a question for you. Which one do you recommend for me? And as you said in the beginning, Edmund, the best university for you isn't necessarily the best university for me, and vice versa. There's many things we can look at. Every student has specific criteria and priorities. For example, we had an example with one of our students now that she's a Muslim, she wears a headscarf. So she would ask me, I'd like to go to a place where there's a big population of Muslim students, and many other priorities that students usually ask for. So when we have a conversation with a student, or when I have a phone call with a student, one-to-one call, I usually get to understand more about the student and know what priorities they have. And of course, looking at the qualifications to help the student pick the universities that are tailored for him, that are personally suitable for the student, to make sure that he's going to get the best quality of education and at the same time have a good and comfortable experience. He's going to spend there 6 years. So based on each student's qualifications and priorities, we usually help you find the best university for you. We can't say there's one university that's the best among all the universities in Europe. Every country has the top universities from the universities that we've discussed today. So it's important to have a call with a student and understand more about them to advise them better.
That's great. Thank you so much for that, Dana. There's so many questions that are coming, and we are actually at the end of the webinar, so we're not able to answer all the questions here. But don't worry, this is what we're here for. This is what we're here to do, is to help you with all the questions that you have, all the worries. We also have a special offer for you to continue with the free Q&A session with one of the expert advisor, from myself to Tom, to all the other teams here. And you have a personal answer to all your questions in mind for your situation. So you can easily scan an appointment using the QR or the special link. And keep in mind that this is only available for the webinar, the participants here. Okay, so get in touch. And we hope that you found this very useful. You found this quite inspiring to pursue your journey. A lot of these students, there are more and more there that are out there, some who have just joined us tonight to share some of their experiences with you. And we know some of the parents who are also watching, wanting to see how this would go and what information they can get. Our sole purpose is to help you find the right options there abroad. And so that's from January to December. We search everywhere to make sure that you have the best education out there in Europe to allow you to go to your home country and practice. So call us if you need to arrange a call. We need to ensure that you have all your questions answered. I still speak to some of the students, sometimes midnight. And also feel free to scan the QR and you get to see all the universities as well. You also get to scan the QR for your attendance certificate. And then you can also watch the recording on our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is actually created for you guys to be able to see everything that you can have from students who have studied in different countries, from graduates to doctors to dentists. And you get to see other videos as well to get a feel for how other students are finding living abroad. We're here to help you. So get in touch and we'll be happy to assist you with starting your journey abroad. We hope you found this quite useful, and make sure to scan. Do not forget to scan this and you'll see all the universities that we talked about. Now, Osman, is there anything that you would like to share before we close this off?
Yes, really exciting and so much interest in studying abroad. Really good job, everyone. And congratulations to all the students who have made it till the end now. Really great job. I really hope that you do find the best possible outcome for you, whether that be studying in your home country or studying abroad. We have the information on the screen here. You can follow the information. We're excited and we love to speak to you. You have no obligation. There is no pressure. If you want to pursue medicine abroad, we're excited for you and we will support you with the journey. If you want to pursue it in your home country, you can still speak to us. We're also excited for you because our sole purpose as an organization, as Medlink Students, is to help people, help people like you who are passionate about medicine, who are hungry for medicine, dentistry, healthcare, helping the community, helping the healthcare system, and adding value to hospitals, to the NHS, to whatever your local healthcare system in America, Canada. We have so many students from all corners of the planet today on the webinar. So it's been really amazing, fascinating, seeing everyone so passionate, asking so many questions. We wish we could answer so many more questions. I've tried to answer lots, and we'd love to speak to you on the phone so we can address your questions one-to-one and in more details. We can answer every question. We can talk 1 hour for each one of those questions, because we have been doing this for so many years, and we have helped thousands of students just like you pursue the best possible route and path into medicine, whether that be in the UK, in Europe, or in whatever country they have. And we're more excited to speak to you always, every single day, day and night. We're always helping and speaking to students, giving them advice, information, and we're always keen to help you find the best possible outcome, whether that be in Europe or not. Always remember that, because that's why we started our organization. That's the spirit of our organization, is to help you become doctors, just like we did. I studied dentistry in Bulgaria. I loved my experience. It was amazing. I was actually very hesitant when I first considered going abroad. I thought the UK is the best place to study, and I insisted to stay in the UK. I applied year after year, and I did not manage to pass the interviews. Even though I met the grade requirements, the interviews were very tough, very competitive. And I was applying at the same time with people that were reapplying, meaning people in their 30s that were answering questions like this, you know, and I was an 18, 19-year-old. I barely had any experience in life. All I did was study, have sports, socialize a little bit. And it was tough. And you have a lot of competition ahead of you. And we feel for you, because it's ruthless. It's very competitive. I remember I was very crushed for 3 years. I felt like I didn't deserve to be to study medicine or dentistry. I wasn't good enough. But don't let those universities make you feel that way. And it's not their intention. It's simply because they don't have the capacity to teach medicine to so many students that apply. 1 in 4 students gets accepted, and the other 3 are crushed every single year. They think, I'm going to take another gap year. I'm going to wait more time. I'm going to do it over and over and over again until I get accepted. Yes, great. I love your drive. I like your passion that you are insisting to study medicine and become a doctor, but don't waste your time. I wasted 3 years of my life. When I first went to Europe, I was 24 years old, and I was very old compared to the 18-year-olds, 18, 19-year-olds. I really admired that they were brave enough in such a young age and courageous enough to pursue what they love. And I really like that parents as well would support their students, 18, 19 years old, even though they were scared of sending their students to countries that were, their children to countries that were 3-4 hours away on a flight. But still, they knew that they could send them and know that they would be looked after, because Medlink students, we are like a family for each other on a campus. On each campus, you'll find the Medlink students. They're like friends, they're like family, they're like brothers, sisters. They're always supporting each other. We have WhatsApp groups, we're chatting all the time. Any student that has a problem, straight away, there's someone online that's answering it for them. And you'll be part of that community. That's the best part about it. You will make friends from every corner of this planet. You will meet people that you've never even imagined you'll ever meet. Being in the UK or being on a closed place on a UK campus, you'll meet so many people from all corners of the planet. The teachers are so nice and friendly. They really like that students from the UK are coming. They really like that students from USA, Canada, every corner of this planet, wherever you come from. The teachers are really passionate about providing you with all the foundations of medicine or dentistry, so you can become a great, amazing doctor and go back to your country and make a good and create a good reputation for the university as well. And on top of that, you would have experienced an amazing culture. You would become more independent. And it's not so intimidating. Don't make the same mistake that I made, waiting 3 years, waiting 4 years, even waiting 1 year, because time is very limited. And the medicine and dentistry are very long courses. You have to study for 5-6 years, depending on the university, and gain all the experience, all the clinical skills, so you can become a good doctor. And I promise you, you will become a good doctor, because if you put in the work and you put in the effort, it's all about you as a student. compared to any other student. Some students say, oh, is the quality good? I've noticed in the Q&A. Will I become a good doctor? Yes, of course. Well, it depends. If it's all on you. If you are a good student, if you study, if you work hard, if you're dedicated and committed to the career, then you will do an amazing, you will have an amazing result. But if you cruise and do the bare minimum, just like in the UK, you know, in any university on the planet, some people will pass, some people will be amazing at what they do. And you can be one of these people. You have the opportunity, you have the chance, you should take advantage of it, or at least inquire and learn more about it so you can make an informed decision on what's best for you and your future. So you can make yourself proud, make your parents proud, and make your community proud as well.
Wow. Thank you, Osman. I think after today, a lot of students will be inspired by you and everyone else that has joined tonight. So we'll leave the screen here for you guys to scan the attendance and to see all the universities that we talked about. And remember, there is also the February intake, which the applications have started. There are still some schools that you can still apply this year. So get in touch. Whether it's tomorrow, we are still happy to speak to you. We hope you have a wonderful evening, and thank you for spending the evening with us. And we'll look forward to meeting you on the next one. Thank you all.